On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, the first 3 games of a 4-game road trip go in the win column for the Avs. Last one against Tampa Bay, but this one, they defeat the defending Stanley Cup champs in the Florida Panthers. Let's talk about it. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. And make sure you're following us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. Make sure you subscribe to our subtext as well. Link to that's in the show notes below. And when you do chat with Kyle and I one-on-one, we get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, which we share on this very podcast. And we will hear from the subtext people a little bit later when we talk about the fourth and final game of this road trip and their predictions on if the Avs can sweep this thing. Because so far, so good for the Avs. The first 3 games, like I said in the opening, all wins. This one against the Florida Panthers, who are reeling a little bit, but they're such a good team. You know that they're going to snap out of this sooner or later, and you didn't want to be the team that they did it against. So good on the Avs for, they had another great second period. Again, this seems to be the MO for the Avs. A first period where you just stay in it. You don't let things get too out of control, and then you just seem to kick it into high gear in the second. And then for this game anyway, all the momentum went back to Florida in that third. And again, you can look at this as, hey, the Avs held on. They did what they had to do to even they had a two goal lead when the goalie was pulled, and you felt like this is going to be an exciting finish. It was, but the Avs, they did what they needed to do to beat a really good team that's struggling, and you kept them reeling for a little while. So all in all, I think it was a really good game for Colorado.
Yeah, this is, you said this is like the Avalanche MO. This puts Avalanche fans in a funny spot. Like when the playoffs roll around, when you're trying to remember a game from this season, when you say, hey, you remember that game that Georgie let in 1 shot, 1 goal, but the Avs had that super strong second period, but then they held on to win in the third, and then you're just kind of looking perplexed, dumbfounded. Which game was that, you say? This would be the one that Nichushkin get his first of the year. And then you're like, oh, yeah, the Florida game. And no, it's kind of business as usual. And this road trip has been ramping up. You started out with Philly, then you ramped up to a really good Capitals team, then the defending Stanley Cup champions, and then the final boss of this road trip is your former foe in the Stanley Cup, in the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is really, and we talked about this team getting together on the road trip, and you're starting to see that a little bit piece by piece by the minutes that are showing up top to bottom, and how this team is playing.
And you had, I think of you all the time when this happens, the 1 shot, 1 goal. And it's getting to the point where when it happens, and like I said, like the MO for the Avalanche right now is just that first period is usually not the best. And then the second is, and then we see what happens in the third. But I feel like I'm coming around to not really sweating that one. It's bad in that it keeps happening, but I'm starting to come around and like have faith and in this team that they have so much time left in a game when that happens that now they're starting to play well and they can overcome it. You want to correct it. You don't want it to keep happening because it's just a bad look. It's just a bad way to start all the time. But when it happens, your face is like on the television screen. And I can only imagine what's going on, like what the face that you actually have when this keeps happening to the Avs.
And it's one of those that honestly, it's one of the you could have swapped out. This could have been a juice game. Would have never even happened. Out of sight, out of mind. But then hearing you talk like that, it just makes me sick to my stomach. You're building up a tolerance to this poison that we have in the one shot, one goal. Like with everything the Avs have gone through this year, like slow first periods and don't let in the first shot of the game.
Yeah. So you had overall, if you look at go to the end of this game, 11 players for the Avalanche scored in this game, 10 of which all had a point by the halfway point of this game. So you had, I think it was Nathan MacKinnon who was your 11th guy who got a point. We'll talk about him in a little bit because things are going a little interestingly for him. But the going back to like the first period, it was just a one of those first periods that just didn't seem to have a good flow for the Avs. It just seemed like they were fighting the puck at every turn, just didn't have good offensive possessions. We're getting beat kind of, defensively, but they were making up for it. I don't know. Like it was just, but I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like literally thinking, just get to the second period. I'm like, just get to the second period. And what happened, I didn't expect that to happen because they went on a roll. And I just like where this Avs team is right now they just get their composure. They make some adjustments. Like we said this before, it's almost like that first period is like, show us what you got, opponent. Whoever the opponent is, just show us what you got, and then we'll hang with you. And then when we get to first intermission, we know what to expect, and away we go. So it's, again, I don't know if I like it that much because, the game of hockey is just so random. And I don't want to keep relying on that. I'd like to have good first periods. I'd like to have leads in the first period. But, I mean, right now it's working for the Avs. I'm not saying this is how they're going to go about things day in and day out. I'm sure that they want leads. I'm sure they don't want to have first periods where they're just, treading water and holding their head above water. But for now, they're getting results from it. And we had talked about the November schedule. We always do the month ahead when the month starts. And like I said then, like, I just want to see how the Avs are playing at the end of this month. And yeah, we have a few more games to go, but I mean, we have enough sample size right now. They're playing very good hockey right now. Is it perfect? No, but they've had some really good moments, really good games. And overall, I'm really liking where this Avs team is going.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say it's completely good hockey because they're putting together 2/3 of a hockey game that's really good, and it's like having a cell phone that it starts acting up, and the way you fix it is a hard reset, and then you're like, I don't know if you should keep doing that all the time. Like there's a problem that needs to be addressed, and fixing it with a hard reset, eventually it's not going to come back the right way. And like the Avs, they have to clean up that first period, the one shot, one goal, and letting teams get ahead. Like, I understand you put together a great second and a great third, and the end result is a win. That's great. But you can't keep testing this over an 82 game season. This can't be the MO going forward. Like, it's got you by, but this can't be the identity that we've been asking for from the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
So it's good finishes, but they need to put together a complete good hockey game because the first period is still the Achilles heel. And teams show like it doesn't matter really what you do to the Avs in the first period because they're going to clean it up in the second, third. But you really got to come out strong eventually in our first period and dictate the game from beginning to end.
Well, and you had while the second period overall is very good, it ended not in a good fashion for you because you gave up a power play goal at the end of that. And for a team like Florida, it's like that just gives them a lot to work with going into the third. And you heard Mosier talking about it a lot on the broadcast about, the first 5 minutes of the third period. And it was like they knew what was coming. The first 5 minutes of the third was rough for the Avs, and you got a penalty. and then it got to be a 5-on-3 for Florida. And there was a goal that was scored that was taken off the board. Let's get a break in. And when we return, let's talk about that. We'll talk about the depth, because now that the depth is in their proper roles, you're seeing what they can do playing the positions they should be playing. So a lot more to get to. Of course, our subtext people down the road talking about the Tampa game as well. So let's get our first break in and continue this talk on the other side. Let's hear from FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, which is America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. And the FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, and you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That is FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So, this game, I mean, it was an exciting game. Kind of, not to say that the game against the Capitals was not exciting, but you see the difference between how those two teams play, right? Yeah. This was like an exciting edge of your seat game, and Florida, they hit the ice skating to start that third, and they had a goal. And again, this is what happened with the Avs, happened to them. When I saw the replay, when Jonathan Drouin went into the paint on his own, there was some contact. They waved the goal off. I believe it was a Cale Makar goal. It was a Cale Makar goal. Mm-hmm. And then when this happened, it's almost the same exact thing. Was there as much contact with Tkachuk as Drouin? No, but there was. And what the contact was the stick. Like he was on it. It was up on him. They did touch each other, but the stick was kind of, by the angle that I saw, kind of in between the legs of Tkachuk, which prevented Georgiev from being able to play his position. Florida fans hate it. I kind of understand why they hate it, but it does not matter if you bowl over the goalie or just lay a finger on him. They don't want you in the crease touching any part of the goalie. And as soon as that happened, I was pretty confident they were going to wipe that goal off, and they did.
And how you were talking in the first about being okay with Georgie letting up one shot, one goal. I think Avs fans as a whole, when it comes to official review, just do not care anymore. They're like, sure, we've seen this. We know this is how it's going to go. We file this away, and the referee for the month of November, we'll look at how it is in December. But the Avs have seen the full, like both positive and negative on the side of these official reviews. But all in all, this is the standard. You cannot touch the goalie. And it benefited the Avs, but everybody has to understand this going forward. This is how it's going to be. And the league is pretty clear that this is going to be the standard in the bottom line.
I'm telling you, like, it's you can fault the NHL for a lot of things and being inconsistent on a lot of things, and you would be right. But for this, they made it a point to that is going to be the point of emphasis for the refs. If you went in there on your own and you touch a goalie, we're reversing it. We're not, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So the faster you come around to that fact, the more maybe accepting you'll be when a goal gets reversed, unless it's your team that it gets reversed on, then you'll never be accepting of it. That's just the way fandom goes. For the Avs, because you're getting healthier, guys are now slotting into the spots where they are supposed to be. And I think that plays a big role in this improvement that you're seeing for the Avalanche. You're not getting Miles Wood on a second line. You're not giving Kiviranta on a second line. You're not bumping guys up where they, I think Kiviranta was even on a top line for a little while. So on games past a month ago, you can see, like, when a team is constructed and you're healthy and you are playing in the position you're supposed to be playing in, and you do it well, and you do what you're supposed to do, and you see the results, and you see points going up on the board in the standings. This is another reason why I feel good about the Avs, because they are, for the most part, healthy. Obviously, you're still waiting for Ross Colton to return and Landeskog. Who knows what's going to happen there? But for the most part, you are a healthy team. And look what's happening. You had 11 guys score in this game. And your depth lines are noticeable. Your depth lines are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And they're not giving up, bad chances and blowing assignments because they're either uncomfortable or unfamiliar in the role they're supposed to be playing on a second line when you're usually a fourth line guy. So that's another reason why I'm feeling really good about how the Avs are playing, because guys are in their proper positions.
As we were talking in the first as well about identifying this game in the future, we're talking about a one-shot, one goal, Avs strong second period. And if you want to define this game and you want to talk about depth, Shillington had one more point than Nathan MacKinnon, and Jonathan Drouin had one more minute of ice time than Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon. That's the game that we're talking about.
You know what, man? Like, Oliver Shillington is slowly starting to come along.
It's about time.
I mean, and this is a guy who's he's going to be a third defensive pairing. And, he missed a lot of time when he was in Calgary. But, he has, it just might be like he needed some time in a new town, in a new system. And sometimes that takes guys in his role a little bit longer to figure it out. Is he all the way there? No, he still does some things where his number one move right now is just loft the puck out of the zone. And which is odd, because I've seen him play before and he's good with the puck on his stick. He's good at zone exits and kind of navigating through a defense. But I don't know if he's just uncomfortable doing that right now, because he's watching guys like Cale Makar just do it like a hot knife through butter. And he's like, well, I can't do that, and I don't want to embarrass myself, so I'm just going to loft this thing up in the air. He did it so many times. But he's starting to, like, his passes are getting, that one pass he had to Drouin. Was it Drouin? Yeah. Or no. Was it LOC? It was LOC. LOC, that were beautiful play, beautiful pass that kind of broke O'Connor for the goal. Yep. So he's starting to get a little bit of confidence in his game. We'll see how long it goes for. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from him the past couple of games.
Yeah, there's many times that you don't know if Shillington's got his hockey stick or a pitching wedge out there. And
That's especially so funny too. I'm telling you, just pay attention to it. He just lofts them.
He'll whiff. He'll whiff on one, and he'll make the wrong move. So you don't know what he's got, but hey, he's forming. He's working with the team. He's finding his role and his confidence, and you could see it. And you could see why the Avs made the moves to bring him in. They believe in what he can bring, and now you're seeing him get comfortable with the talents that he has and where it fits in this roster. I would like to see him not do the Super Nintendo NHL Stanley Cup move of press X and dump the puck, but hey, it's improvement.
Hey, and a big goal too. A really big, timely goal at the end of that third. So that was a big one. I thought Sam Girard had an excellent game. And a smart move too by him on that pass that he had to Mikko when Mikko's hands were all the way down by the blade of his stick. To know, like, I don't know if this is going through his head, but when I saw the replay, it was going through mine. Who's the goal scorer?
Yeah,
Mikko Rantanen's the goal scorer, not Sam Girard. And I think Sammy, like, he had a shot. He could have taken a shot, but he held on to it for just that split second longer and fired a pass. I mean, that wasn't just a wet noodle pass over to Mikko. That was right on the tape. Beautiful redirect by Mikko for the goal. But I thought Sammy G had a really nice defensive play when Florida had a 3-on-1. You could even say it was almost close to a 4-on-1, and he timed his slide perfectly where it just bounced off his stick and just disrupted the play enough where nothing happened. So overall, I thought Sam Girard had a really good game. Another good game I thought from Malinsky, and you see it in the time on ice, man. Like the time on ice for your defenders, almost all of them hit 20 minutes. Shillington was the lowest at 1440, but everybody else was either over 20 or 19 and change. Malinsky just missed 20 minutes, and Manson was at 1922. So you are rotating your defenders. You're confident in all three pairings that you have. Although Manson had some moments he'd like back, I'm sure, but overall you're pretty confident in what this defense is doing right now. You're feeling good. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, your defense is looking good, and I think it's just they're trained at this point of you don't make mistakes because the mistakes will end up costing you. You feel confident in the defense top to bottom, and the bottom is starting to refine itself that it's working its way up, and it's a really solid decor. And you touched on Mikko Rantanen, by the way, before everybody starts slamming things and starts screaming on social media, what's wrong with Mikko? Mikko had 4 points quietly. Like this is what you want. This is Mikko Rantanen is quietly, he's contributing, he's doing what he's supposed to. Nathan MacKinnon had 1 point. 1. Mikko had 4, and everybody in this Tampa game, if Mikko misses a shot, what's going on with Mikko? He doesn't look right. He had 4 points. Mikko is good. The top line is good. The Avs are winning 7-4 when you're getting 1 point from Nathan MacKinnon. Relax.
It is funny, the dynamic between when Mikko's in a slump and when MacKinnon is. And MacKinnon is right now. Let's get our last break in. We'll talk about that, and then we'll get to what the Avs can do in Tampa to finish off this road trip. So we'll get our last break in, and we'll talk about all that on the other side. Let us hear from Prize Picks. It's the best way to place real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up 100 times of your cash, where you can run your game all season long with Prize Picks. Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account for the entire sports season, and they put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. So download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNHL and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That code again is LOCKEDONNHL for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the Prize Picks app today, and you can run your game all season long with Prize Picks. All right, so Nathan MacKinnon in a little bit of a scoring rut. And, I can't sit here and just say, like, oh, it's because teams are suddenly defending it. Like, Nathan MacKinnon just didn't come on the scene. People, like, this happens. Guys go through ebbs and flows. You don't typically see it with someone of, like, Nathan MacKinnon's stature. And I think over the last 4 games, he's only got 2 assists, which is not concerning to me. The part that's concerning to me is his shots on goal. He's only got 7 shots on goal in the last 4 games. I mean, that dude usually has 7 shots on goal per game. So that's the part that's a little bit concerning. Why? And he's had opportunities to shoot, but it seems like he's in the mindset of, I'm going to pass instead. Why is that happening with that? He's usually a shoot first guy, and he's kind of giving up those shots to dish to his teammates.
And you know what? Let me one up that for you as well. It is time of this episode coming out. This is November 25th. You know the last time he scored a goal?
I think it was he's on a 4-game, like I said, the last 4 games he scored 2. I think was it the game before that? Like, so it was in 5 games?
November 9th against Carolina.
Is it really? So it's even longer than that. Wow.
So you are,
yeah.
He has been, and again, this is where the depth comes in, and it hides a lot of that because you have the Mikko, like the hat tricks, you have Kale flirting with a hat trick, you have all these guys having career nights. You forget about Nathan MacKinnon. That's the wonderful thing about the Avalanche. But isolating Nathan MacKinnon for what it is, yes, it's a little troubling that he's not, scoring at will. He also doesn't have to. I mean, you just beat the Florida Panthers by 3. And yes, you want him to score more. That's what he's supposed to do. But he is in ways that aren't like highlight reel. He's allowing other people to score. So if it completely drops off and he starts going pointless and looks just completely aloof and lost out there, that's when I start hitting the panic button. But when everybody else is doing their job and he's not, like, Nathan MacKinnon can have an off night. It's an 82-game season. He's not going to score 82 goals over the season. It's okay. The Avs are still winning. Other players on this team are having great nights. And Val had an empty netter. Like, this is things that you could talk about over the Nathan MacKinnon not being there, because he doesn't have to be the focal point in these games. He doesn't have to turn it on and get mad and win a game.
True, which is nice. But don't tell that to Nathan MacKinnon.
Oh, no.
He doesn't want to hear that. Like, he wants to feel like I need to continue to play my game and be the superstar that I am. And he doesn't want to be in a scoring rut. He wants to help his team in any way. But from a coaching standpoint and from a fan standpoint, it is nice to see that it's not just fully on him and reliant on. It's not as MacKinnon goes, the team goes, although most of the time it is. But it's nice to see that it doesn't have to be that way. You have enough guys there that can kind of pick him up when he's not throwing pucks in the net and, on a regular basis, which is nice. And despite all that, he's still leading the league in scoring. So, even this little rut that he's in, he's still leading the league. And Kaprizov, I guess he's going to be out for a little while. I didn't see, someone made a comment. I think it was on the Blue Sky account, where they were like, oh, is he going to be out a while? I'm like, I didn't see the game. I didn't even know he got injured. And then I see something from, I think it was Sarah Valley or Elliot Friedman saying, like, yeah, he could be out for a little while. So I mean, I like Kirill Kaprizov. So it's kind of sucks that he's going to be out a little while, but I think MacKinnon's up by 1 on him in the points race right now.
I'm not going to cheer for Kirill the Thrill until he goes to Los Angeles.
You think so? I don't know. We'll see. But either way, I think we all anticipate it's just a matter of time before Nate just gets back on track with just, putting up 3-4 points a game. So,
yeah.
All right, let's get to the game Monday night against Tampa. This is the last game of this 4-game road trip, obviously, which the Avs can sweep. You'd love that. You always want to come out of a road trip at least like 500. So the Avs, even with a loss, it's a successful road trip. But when you get to this point, when you've won 3, you only got 1 left. Hey, go just clean it up. Go get them all. Go get all points you can. And it's Tampa, so obviously you have that, because obviously that was your Stanley Cup matchup. You have MacKinnon and Kucherov. It's always a good tight matchup. What are we thinking? You think the Avs pull this thing away? And who gets the nod in goal?
Don't ask me that question, because every time I say it needs to be Juice, and it never is. And it's always Georgie, and it's always 1 shot, 1 goal. And everybody's, well, what's going on? I told you it needs to be Juice. Do a better job at alternating your goalies. No, it needs to be a Juice game, and the Avs need to let everything out. Like, it's a long flight back from Tampa. Like, let it all hang out and go all the way against Tampa. Go get that double-digit win. Like, you've got to you've been putting it together. You beat Florida. Like, they're a better team than Tampa. This is a little bit of just a tiny little smidge of a step down talent-wise. The Avs need to have a statement win, a full 60, and this is the game to do it. Like, you have Bednar Cooper. Like, you have top to bottom. It's your Bizarro team. It's how you built the Avalanche to beat the Lightning, and this is how it's always going to be. So you need to make a statement that, hey, we are the better team and we're on the rise. And this needs to be whatever Tampa has, you need to double them up.
Yeah, did you say go get a double-digit win?
Why not?
Are you saying a 10-0 win? Is that what you're saying?
Why not? The Avs, I talk about it all the time. The Avs have never had a double digit.
Yeah.
As long as they've been the Colorado Avalanche. They had one under Quebec, but
I don't know if this is that game though, man. I mean, I'm assuming they're starting Vasilevsky. You throw a 10 spot up on him. I mean, just give us the cup.
Yeah, do it.
I mean, you kind of embarrassed him in the Stanley Cup Finals. I get that, but hey, man, I'm all for it if that happens.
There's no reason to hold on to anything or like hold back or conserve or save. You can recoup on the flight. You can rest. You get back home. You get back to business. You get back to the starts that are more typical Colorado Avalanche. No more of this early East Coast stuff. Like just empty the tank here and recharge on the way back.
I'll tell you this though. The one area where Tampa is not the greatest is shots on goal against. They're one of the worst teams in the league. Shots on goal against. Where are they?
So if it is a Georgie game, that first shot won't happen until the second period.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. They're one of the better. I had them because I'm looking at shots on goal for, shots on goal against. Shots on goal against, they're one of the better teams. Shots on goal for, they're one of the worst teams. So they are fourth from the bottom of the league for shots on goal for. So they don't get a lot of shots on net. Shots on goal against, they are seventh best. So they don't let you get a lot of shots on goal either. So it's kind of boom or bust for them on, offense and defense. I want to get some subtext people in here. So Lisa says, I think we see Georgiev in net. I'd really like to see MacKinnon have a big game and see a couple of goals. Avs win 3-2, maybe 4-3. Can't commit to a score, but I can commit to the idea of it being a 1-goal game.
No.
Okay, I'll accept that. Electrician Ziggy. Avs will sweep the road trip. Choo Choo will have a 3-point night. Georgiev in net, and will have an .890 save percentage. And the Avs win 5-3. You heard it here first. 5-3. Katie, Avs sweep. Of course, Middlestat gets 2 points with goals from both wingers. Annunen in net. She had no idea, though. Feels like they might start Georgiev again. So she's playing both sides of the coin there. I can't fault her for that. Let's see. Adam, Tampa is the closest team to where he lives, and he was supposed to go to the game, but it didn't work out. For that reason alone, I predict an Avs blowout win just because I won't be there. 6-1, he says. I love it. It's not the 10-0 Kyle would like to see, but that's close. Cody says, I'll say the Avs sweep at the 4-2 score, ending with an empty netter over Tampa. Then I think MacKinnon will have a 3-point night, followed by Makar with 2. Nichushkin will get a goal. And I'm going to put Annunen in net so Georgiev's battery can recharge. Because chances are he's going to play Vegas. So having him play 4 tough games in a row doesn't seem ideal. It's a good point. They play Vegas Wednesday night, right? So that's Thanksgiving Eve. That is at home, though. So do you feel a bit more comfortable playing a backup goalie at home, or is it just the matchup? I'm sure it's a little bit of both, but I'm sure they might rather go with the matchup. So I don't know. This is another one where my mind says Georgiev. I don't think they're going to go too far ahead and think of like, let's think about Wednesday. I'm sure they are a little bit, but you got to play the game right now. You want to win the game that you're playing right now. I think they feel comfortable with either goalie doing that, but I think they're still in the mindset of like Georgiev is your guy. He's going to get the lion's share of things. Not 60, but is 4 games in a row too much for him? No. And I think maybe that's like the limit. We'll see.
No, this needs to be a juice game because last time you played, this was a 5-2 Tampa win. Like, you've got to have juice in there. Recharge Georgie for Wednesday night, and we'll see how thankful I am for Georgie on Thursday.
Mark says 4-3 Avs in OT. Val with the OT winner, and Georgie in net. And Vargar says, I think it's a 6-5 game. Kucherov and Mac duel out all game long. Kucherov wins in points, but Mac wins the game. Georgiev gives up 5 with an .823 save percentage and gets the win. So everything Vargar dislikes, like he's not the biggest MacKinnon fan, believe it or not, but he respects him. MacKinnon gets the game winner, and Georgiev falters, but the Avs still win. Love it, Vargar. Love it.
No, I just, this needs to be a juice game. I can't scream it loud enough.
All right, we'll see. We shall see. So that's going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back tomorrow to discuss this game and whoever was in net and anything else that happened. We'll talk about it tomorrow. So thank you for tuning in, making this one your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast, where you just made it through another 24 hours, where Sidney Crosby is that much closer to being in an Avalanche sweater.
Don't do it, Sid.